Hi there, this is Alicia Cordes with Reclaim Community, and so I'm just wanting to touch base with you all and give you a little update on what happened this morning. So if you've been following us, you know today is a pretty big day. Today was the tax forfeiture auction of properties in Pipestone County, and so for the last 3 or 4 months we've been flooding our page with information about that because of Bauman Hall. So to backtrack a little bit, just to give you a little background if you don't know about it, Bauman Hall was tax forfeited. It had been sitting empty for about 8 to 10 years, about 9 years. The previous owner had it and wasn't able to unable to redevelop it, and so he let it go for a while, and the tax built up on it, and so then it was forfeited to the county. So that happened in July, and so after that we decided to, been talking about the building and been concerned about it for about a year now, looking at it and seeing what was going to happen to it. And we decided to tour it. We had our contractor Terry Skyberg look through it. We took a structural engineer through it, got some of their opinions and advice, and then we talked to the Historical Society in Pipestone County and the Minnesota State Historical Society and got a lot of great feedback from them. And then finally we talked to the auditor about the tax forfeiture process and what was going to happen. So at that point in September we decided already we thought this was a great potential project, and that we thought that this building had the value that needed to be preserved, and we definitely didn't want to hear any more about it being torn down, because being on the National Register, that is a designation that is supposed to protect a property, and we had been hearing a lot of talk about that building being lost, and I just don't think that we can stand to lose any more of those important buildings in the community. And so we felt like it was important for us. The board felt very adamant that even though it is a large project and it is something separate from what we're doing with the Jasper School, that we didn't need to wait another 5 or 10 years to have the Jasper School project up and running, have some businesses in there and residences and events going on in there, while looking at this empty lot on Main Street and going, gosh, I wish we would have done something when we had the chance. And so that's part of the reason why we've been pursuing this. So in the tax forfeiture process, we put our intent out there to the county to say, hey, we're interested. Their process is that they have to take a property like that and they can turn it over to a city entity or another government or taxation entity if they would like. Unfortunately, nobody else really wanted it, and because it does need some work. So the liability was too great, so they decided to decline. And so we decided the next option would be, the best bet is to have a nonprofit, because as a nonprofit you can qualify for those major grants from the Historical Society. So that's something that a private citizen can't really do. So a lot of the developers, unless they're very familiar and know how to use the historic tax credits, they don't really always know about. And so the most common thing is, well, it's too expensive, let's tear it down. So we couldn't see that happen, and we moved forward on it. And so we've been fundraising, of course, for the last couple of weeks and months, and you've been seeing ever since we found out the minimum bid in November was going to be at least $1, plus special assessments and things like that. We decided we were going to push forward and just ask the community. And so thank you so much for all of you who responded and donated. It made a huge difference. It was great to see the 30 or 40 people donate, sign up on our pledge form, saying that they support preservation in Jasper, things like that. So we really appreciate that feedback, because that gives us the leverage to say, the community wants this, and we believe we're going to pursue it on their behalf and with their support. So thank you again. So with Bauman Hall, today was the auction this morning. It's kind of crappy drive up to Pipestone. The drive back was worse, honestly. But we went up there and didn't go quite the same way we thought it was. We were hoping we would go in and be able to bid our dollar and pay our assessments and stuff on it and be able to leave. And unfortunately, we did have another bidder on it. So we didn't get it as cheap as we wanted, but we did get Bauman Hall. So thank you all. We're all super excited about this next step in the process. And we have some big plans for it, and we're working really hard on those. Not to take away from the big plans we have from the school, completely separate, but the winning bid was $10,100. So like I said, it was definitely higher, but we had a wonderful, generous donor that came forward and said, you know what, I'm going to give you guys a loan for whatever you haven't raised to this point. And I believe in this project, and I believe in you guys. And so we are so thankful to that donor for trusting in us and believing in us and working with us. And so we're going to work really hard at fundraising now, kick off the work to not only work on Bauman Hall, because we need $4,500 to stabilize that wall immediately so that we can get make sure the community is safe, that we don't need to have a ugly orange fence around it or anything like that anymore. So the biggest thing is to take the pressure off that wall and those beams. And so then we're going to start applying for grants immediately. There's a grant cycle coming up in January and one in April. So we're going to start working hard on those, figuring out how to get the conditions assessment done so that we can have a really good basis for going to the Historical Society and saying we need $300,000 or whatever the total is that this conditions assessment tells us we need. So that's going to be our next step on Bauman. So please, if you can, please donate. We do need your funds now. If you pledged but you didn't, follow us and didn't find out about the auction and everything, this is the time to donate. We also do have a pancake breakfast and silent auction coming up January 27th, so that will be another great opportunity to donate. If you have things to donate for it, if you would like to give a certificate, buy a basket for us to put on there, donate a service or something, we would really appreciate your help. We definitely need the more the better. And if you'd like to volunteer, flip some pancakes and cook some sausages or something for us at the event, let us know. We would definitely appreciate your help. We are also working on a couple other fundraising items. We have a calendar of pictures from Jasper School that we're going to be releasing here shortly. We're just finalizing it. And that will be a really awesome thing for you guys to have in your houses and remember, have a little nostalgia when you look back at those pictures. And then in the future, as we release more calendars, you'll be able to look back and see how far we've come when we continue to show new pictures of progress in the school. So that's going to be a really neat thing. It's going to show some of the pictures of when we first bought the building and some of these pictures that we have uncovered of some of the murals in the meantime and things like that. So stay tuned for that. We'll be posting that on our Facebook as soon as it's cleared, and working on our website to get that up as well. We also do have some new coffee mugs. So there's a picture on our Facebook. If you check that out, they have our new logo on it. They have a picture of the old Jasper School on the back side. And we can even put your name on it if you'd like. So we're going to be taking orders for those two things. So now that we have succeeded in our goal to get Bauman Hall, we have a lot of, like I said, big plans this summer. In spring, we have some big fundraisers coming. We're working on a junk fest again for this spring. We'd like to do a vendor fair, craft fair. We have so much beautiful property around the school, and if we can't be in the building yet necessarily doing events because we don't have the heat on, we don't have the water plumbing going, we need to be using those grounds. And so we would love to have you, if you're interested in helping us, if you're interested in being a vendor at the event, if you do make handmade things, repurpose things, if you are a crafter at heart and you would love to participate, we would love to have you. So contact us to be put on the list for that. Additionally, we are probably going to be doing our classic car cruise in at Court Saturdays as well. That's always a big hit. We get a great turnout for that, and it's a lot of fun. Who doesn't love looking at vintage cars? And so it goes with the theme of the vintage repurposed, type of thing that we want to go for. We also will probably do our 0.5K fun run again, and hopefully it's even bigger and even more fun. We're going to try and come up with some really fun, clever new additions to it for this year, so stay tuned. That was a lot of fun last year, and we really appreciate all of our sponsors for that. We had Stony Point Recreation Campground sponsored us. Pepsi of Pipestone sponsored us. The Pipestone Livestock Auction sponsored us. LG Everest gave a great donation. Terry Skyberg, of course, Skyberg Construction always does. And then we had a couple alumni that also donated a large sum for that. So we really appreciate that. And if you or your business would like to be a sponsor, we would love to talk to you about that for your interest in supporting the community revitalization here. So we also are talking about a really exciting, fun fundraiser for Halloween, and maybe for another one for Christmas next year. So if you are interested, if you love the holidays, if you like to have a lot of fun and get in the spirit of it, we would love to talk to you about being on our volunteer crew for that. The one for Halloween could be a pretty big deal. So we are, we'll give you more details later, but let's just say we're trying to go big. And so that will be really exciting. We're going to start planning now and see if we can't pull something off this fall. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that we do need some support in the areas of plumbing and heating and electrical work. So if you have experience in that, if you know someone who does and they love historic buildings and renovations, please contact us because we could use a little bit more support. We have Jason Klumper and Terry Skyberg, who obviously have a background in that kind of thing, and they've been doing awesome work and helping us out. But it's a big building, and we have a lot of projects, and we could use a few people who specialize in like the plumbing and the heating and stuff, so that we can start to plan. We can start doing some assessments and planning for what we need. Not only what we need in grants for the long term, but also I'm just talking about small supports that we can do right now. One of the biggest things that we could be helped by is getting some heat on in the school, because we don't want the plaster to continue to deteriorate, and we don't want the drains from the ceiling to freeze so that water pools on the roof and we get leaking again. So that's the biggest downfall with having a building like that, with the stone walls that has the crawl space about 3 feet around the entire perimeter that has all the heating in it. When that building had its boilers running and those spaces were heating, they would stay about 80 degrees, and it would just heat the entire stone wall all the way up. And that meant that that wall stayed a constant temperature. And that meant that there wasn't condensation constantly dripping on the inside of the wall when it's hit by the sun and it warms up, and that damages the plaster. So one of the things we also are looking for is if you have an old furnace that's electrical, we need a couple furnaces that we could stick in a couple strategic places in the building. And if we can keep these areas, keep the drains from thawed so they're not freezing over, and we can keep the areas where the plaster is warm, we're not going to see the damage that we would if we left it, still being frozen and unheated in the winter. So even if we could get that temperature to like 40, 45 degrees, we'd be doing a lot of support and things that we wouldn't have to clean up and fix later. So just keep that out there. If we could get a furnace for the gym and one for the second, one for the third floor, just even the small size, that would make a huge difference. We could run some tube ducts into different areas of the school and be able to at least keep it at a little bit warmer temperature. So we've done a lot of winterizing already, so we've got the closed up any gaps or places where cold air or snow could get in that would cause any issues. And so right now the basement's staying really dry. There's no condensation anymore and everything, so we're seeing that working really well. But we still need some help and some creative solutions in the meantime. So we are going to be also working this couple upcoming months on getting some visuals out there for you guys. We are finishing our updates on our website, and we are working on getting some visual examples of some of the work that we want to do, what these projections of our development plan looks like. And so, that costs a lot of money to do those. So we definitely could use donations to have them professionally done. It costs in the realm of $5,000 to $6,000 to do a visual, like a graphic rendering of what the gymnasium would look like when it's restored and what we visualize it as. So that's kind of why you haven't seen any of that yet, because we have been developing the plans, but we don't have it on paper and a visual to show you because it's so expensive. So the way you can help us is if you know somebody who wants to donate some of their time and can do some of that work, we would love to talk to them, even if it's very simple and not super detailed at this point. We just need people to see our vision and see where we want to go with this building. Both of these buildings, actually. If you happen to have any other ideas for fundraisers or things that you have skills or interest in and you think that could be a potential support to us, we would love to talk to you. 2 heads are better than one, and 50 or 1,000 heads are even better than that. So anyway, I just wanted to update you on that. I will post some different links and things as we get them in the next few weeks or day or two for the calendar, the mugs, the order forms, and things like that. And we'll be pointing you in the direction of where to get those and how to support us for that. And then get in touch with us if you have things for the silent auction. If you'd like to help for the pancake feed, we would appreciate it, and we'll post details on that as well. So watch our page, and we're going to be hopefully throwing some kind of celebration maybe this spring to kind of say, yay, we raised $100,000 almost for Jasper already for the school, and we got Bauman Hall now, and so we're going to keep raising money for that. Big things are coming for Jasper, and I don't think you guys realize just how big. So if that is exciting to you, get on board and come on with this, because this is going to be an amazing journey, and this is going to be something that's unprecedented. And I don't think you guys really totally get it, and that's part of our fault because we don't have the money for marketing. But get involved, sit down with us, talk to us about our project and what you want to see or what you hope for, and let's brainstorm together. Let's figure these things out as a community, and let's come together and just let everybody else get a taste of how fantastic of a community that Jasper is, and how amazing the buildings and the things that we have that are there. And let's enjoy them for the next, 50 to 100 years. So anyway, if you have questions, drop them in the comments or send us a message. Yay! Good news today. So we'll talk to you later.